Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome to Regiments, or more precisely, the currently open playtest of Regiments Operation Game Mode. The operations will be small little mini campaigns where you have both a strategic and a tactical element, this being of course the tactical battle map right here, and the strategic being where you manage your regiment, attach various smaller combat task forces to it, ensure that it's adequately supplied with ammunition and reinforcements. Because once the AI of course is in possession of infinite reinforcements of elite units, you have to buy your ammunition. It's a little ridiculous, but oh well. The Operations game mode, I think, is really damn cool, and whilst I am going to be a little bit critical in this video, because it does also highlight some pretty obvious issues, I do like overall where this game is going as an interesting little mix, sort of. Oh, here we go. Mix sort of between a little bit of Wargame, quite a lot of Wargame actually, and a bit of World in Conflict as well. Some of you may remember that game, World in Conflict, a relatively old title at this point, coming in at what I would probably say was the tail end of real-time strategies popularity. It was expected to be like a big deal, really. It was marketed as a really big deal. It was a very big budget kind of video game, but well, again, it came in at the tail end of the popularity of real-time strategy, and so it ended up not really performing quite as expected, shall we say. Nevertheless, it had some very cool ideas, and it had an excellent story mode, really excellent story mode. I wish they'd actually continued it. It's a shame, because they ended it on very much so kind of oh, there's going to be more of this, and then it didn't really sell, and then there wasn't any more of this, sadly enough. Right, we are being attacked by the NATO forces here. This is pretty damn late out into the operation. This is, I think, turn 5 out of 8. I have seized the airfield, and now I need to hold it against NATO aggression, yes. See, it's not that I invaded them, even though I did. It's that they are now aggressing upon me, invading them. Speaking of aggressing upon me, invading them, this is a lot here. Like, holy hell, this is actually genuinely a lot here, so let's do some off-map artillery call-ins to try and stop that a little bit. I do have dug-in T-72s over here, which I'm wondering how there we go. The smoke finally cleared. It looked like it had cleared a while ago, but it apparently had not. How are we doing over here? Not a problem. Right, so this is the area getting kind of beat to shit right now. You might think that tanks would be able to absolutely slaughter IFVs moving in the open with no smoke or real covering fire, but no. No, in fact, the tanks are far more likely to get slaughtered than the IFVs. I have literally done this time and time again, because the game is balanced in a very weird way, where infantry is actually the main assaulting force. It's odd, but tanks really do not do particularly well on the offensive, and certainly not against dug-in infantry. And I'm not talking dug-in infantry as in your tanks wander right on top of them within, like, personal anti-tank weaponry, like light AT, like laws, etc. I'm talking they will outshoot them at long range with ATGM kinda outcompete tanks. It's got a weird balance thing, which I'm not necessarily wholly against, nor am I necessarily wholly for either. It all comes down to the fact that emplacements are unbelievably powerful, like just actually stupendously powerful. You are expected, and you pretty much have to attack enemy positions with the 3-to-1 superiority. Like, if you're not attacking with 3 times the enemy numbers and probably with artillery support, you're just not gonna do very well. And if you eventually end up winning, you're gonna do so with far too heavy casualties. I get what they're trying to go for. I get what they're trying to say. I mean, entrenchments were good, absolutely, but holy hell. Now, let me put in some qualifying statements here too, because I don't know quite what they're going for in this game. I have this sneaking feeling that they might be going for single player first and foremost, and trying to tell a story. I'm hoping through some storytelling, some little neat cutscenes, some voice acting, etc., because that could be really cool. You know, like they tried to do in blah 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 blah. I've forgotten the name of the game. Oh, World in Conflict. There you go. Where they actually tell a story of a guy fighting his way through this conflict. It's really, really cool. Toss in some decent little cutscenes, and I'll be a very happy lad. Because the gameplay balance feels like it's kind of heading in that direction. Because, man, I don't know if I want to play this game multiplayer. In Wargame, for example, right? Attacking well is very difficult, but it is all a question about understanding the game's mechanics, understanding that you need support, you need suppression, you need smoke, you need to take all of the various elements of your army and you need to weave them together into a greater whole. And if you do that well, a smaller assaulting force can overthrow a larger defending force, because you can apply your weapons piecemeal and take the enemy out piecemeal. But here, where emplacements are simply just a hilariously massive defensive modifier, your primary way of dealing with anything is just brute forcing it, either with sheer numbers or via artillery spam. Now, I don't have any mortars on the map right now because the thing is, the mortar task forces you get are kind of shit. So I haven't really gotten them. I've been playing around with artillery a little bit, and I really don't like the heavy artillery. It does well, it does plenty of damage, and if you have the bother to micromanage it, it can be really good, but it eats up a ton of supply, and you need to buy the bullets, I remind you. And you need to micro it a lot, constantly. And yes, I don't know. It's a little bit of a personal thing too. But the AI loves it. Like, it'll call in like 2 or 3 units of mortar support and just mortar spam you to hell down. That will deal with emplacements really, really quickly. Which leads me to believe that if they were to be a competitive multiplayer, it would be very, very arty heavy, because it is the single best and most predictably effective way to deal with enemy units in prepared position. The prepared positions, any unit can create them anywhere as long as it stays still for about a minute or so, which is not a whole lot of time. I mean, holy shit. This thing is fully hull down. They dug this in a minute. Good job. Very much so. Absolutely. Where's the enemy? We don't have any fireworks to shoot at. Anywho. And I mean, yes, artillery would be the logical answer to entrenchment. I get it, but doing RT spam and or getting RT spammed is probably some of the least enjoyable things in gaming. Flat out. Just straight up video games in general. Because you're getting smacked. Oh, Jesus. Okay, that was sudden. Alright, I'm glad I noticed that. I do not know what that was, but it hurts. Yes, so I was saying, you get smacked. What the hell? Okay, invincible enemy units. Invisible, more correctly. Alright. You, okay. Yes, the game's night time needs a little work, if I'm to be honest. Like, night doesn't mean that enemy units are entirely imperceptible to, you know, sound. They're right next to a unit of goddamn infantry. It's like, what is that rumbling noise? We just can't figure it out. Right, well, the AI units are getting butchered. Nothing particularly new or interesting there, I guess. And we're getting assaulted by hordes of M1s. Jesus, okay, not just regular. Okay, well, they slaughtered those. I am actually running out of ammo trying to kill these things. mean, the T-72s should be enough for this. They're clearly not, but they certainly should be. Could you perhaps... No, can you... Right. Display your rear armor... The AI needs work. The AI needs mucho work. Right. If you hadn't actually just shown your ass armor to the enemy whilst looking at another enemy you clearly can't even actually see, I wouldn't be in quite such an awful position, but, well, since you did, I guess we're gonna have to deal with this a little bit of the good old-fashioned way. Right, we can send an engineer unit over there to help out a bit. What the hell are you? Alright, sure. Max range, slaughtered, like nothing. Oh, this is another thing that really annoys me about this game too. Look at how slow the combat is certain times, and then the RNG just boom! I wiped out your entire unit in 2 seconds? Well, you should have prayed harder to the random number generating gods. Not a fan. It's like they've kind of combined the worst of both worlds in that regard, where you've got the armor system of Wargame, where these units can't do anything to the M1s. Nothing at all. They can't penetrate their armor. They're completely worthless against them. With the worst of Steel Division, with assloads of RNG deciding what happens in an engagement, where you can keep shooting at a unit, do nothing, and then that unit goes, what's that over there? Pum pum, I guess you've been wiped out. Not a fan. Not a fan in the slightest of that sort. Not at all. Like, I get it, random, like, you want to have a random percentage chance to hit things, okay, but don't then combine it with literally impenetrable armor, because, I feel like this game is making almost every mistake that Wargame did. And again, I know I'm being very mean, I'm being very hard on it. I do like it. It's just, I know these mistakes because I played a lot of Wargame and I can see the mistakes writ large on the wall here. I'm gonna have to start using these boys a bit more. Like, the fact that heavy armor is able to be literally impervious to enemy fire, that it can just sit in the open with no thought for strategy or positioning or tactics or anything, and just be like, you literally can't hurt me, and then wipe out everything. It means that you're only going to get heavy armor, because everything else is pointless. Why would you buy? Okay, even if the other units cost half as much, right? So you can technically outnumber them 2-1. Alright, I mean, that's adorable and all, but if you can't penetrate their armor, I don't care if you're outnumbering them 10-1. You can't kill them. That was very much so the problem with Wargame, where heavy armor was the be-all and end-all. Everyone would just go for the heaviest armor, because it was just the most effective. Point-wise, it was just the most effective. There's no way around it. And the only way to really deal with this heavy armor that could just sit there and laugh at the enemy's attempt to kill it was massed artillery. Because at least then you could panic it, and if you could panic it, you made it a lot easier to kill, so at least you could rout it and maybe get a decent shot at his rear armor for a better chance of hurting it. Alright. Oh, No, I specifically ordered you to attack that, but I guess you don't care.
Zone captured.
Right, at least this thing has a 55% chance to penetrate. That does not take into account the percentage chance to hit, so... They aren't entrenched, though, so I should be able to hit them relatively easily. There we are. Now, I do like the fact that there are more precise counters, shall we say? Oh, Jesus. In that you can use helicopters. And the helicopters here are far more the World in Conflict helicopters than they are the Wargame helicopters. Since they do actually have hit points. That means that most of the time, you can probably save them. Let's actually retreat this one straight off the map, actually, and you guys too. You've got one dude remaining. Let's pop you out of there. Alright, this frontage is looking awfully weak, so we'll entrench the T-72 M1s over there. The M1s are not particularly great. Let's drop some illuminations over here. This one unit will not be able to hold off an actual assault, but it'll hopefully do enough to slow or give me warning about an assault. See if the flares find anything. Nothing. Okay, so we might not get another attack in the next 5 minutes, which would be kind of nice. Would be kind of nice. Now, again, do not take my little bit of negativity here as a complete condemnation of the game, because it's not. It's early days yet, and this is a good playtest, because it reveals a lot of these weaknesses. The fact that heavy armor is just too good. Like, any unit, if you're going to have the random chance to hit and the random damage table, then these guys, with their little ATGMs or whatever, should be able to have a chance to hurt an M1, regardless of range. Because there needs to be that chance, so that you can potentially swarm them, basically. And in that case, too, you need to make them a lot more expensive. A lot more. You need to be able to outnumber them many times over. And you can't simply rely on artillery to suppress them or damage them, because then you just introduce the RT spam meta. And again, RT spam meta is possibly the least fun thing ever. Literally. It very much so leads to, or you could do what Steel Division 2 has done, where they've introduced a automatic counter-artillery barrage system. That makes artillery a lot less useful, because you can get counter-batteried. And it's a lot more valuable to set it on counter-battery. Artillery is still necessary for certain tasks, it still provides valuable support, but utilizing it is way more risky. Which means you can have it be powerful, but have the enemy have the ability to respond to it without zooming in on the map and going, are there any flashes here? Any flashes anywhere? Can I see the enemy? Can I manually attack order and counter battery barrage on the specific spot? Okay. We can call these back in if we need to, but I don't think we need to right now, actually. 2 minutes left, no enemy counterattacks. I think we're probably safe. And especially if they can do a good campaign mode with a nice story, I think this could be a lot of fun. I think this could be really, really great, actually. Man, I see some of the annoyances. Excuse me? Alright. We've got a little bit more, little bit more invisible shit coming in at us. Maybe we should call in that helicopter again. Well, that's particularly annoying because they just ninja capped that with 1 minute remaining, and I don't even think I've got time to get over there. Let's just shower it in artillery.
Zone lost.
And maybe... Did you remember the hotkey? You did not. That is slightly unfortunate. Alright, let's hope this artillery is murdering something, at the very least scaring the ever-living shit out of it. Let's not walk you straight into the artillery. I feel like that might be unfortunate as well. Right, deploy the infantry. I really like the combined infantry and IFV stuff too. That's really, really cool. And it makes infantry a lot... Are you shitting me? What exactly is this thing that's apparently moving through my units, capping my goddamn things? And where is it? Again, video game, I'm aware that it's nighttime, but... limitations. Where the hell even is it? Okay. Right. So... No. Helicopters cannot cap points, video game. I really hope that is not actually what it looks like, because you can hear thwoppy noises. No, Debs. No, Helis no cappy points. No. Absolutely not. Not without at least making them, I don't know, making themselves incredibly obvious, or them being... actually infantry carrying helicopters, in which case, sure, but no, helicopters no cappy pointy. No. Mucho. No. Right. To wrap it up, let's have a look at the strategic part of it as well. So you can see here, I've got the main regiment, the 40th Motorized Rifle Regiment. It's a weird motorized rifle regiment, considering it's got BMPs alongside BTRs with T-64s attached to it, but very well. And you can then pick various combat task forces. I picked 3 here: Tambov, Corrector, and Daligne. Daligne... See, the BMP-3s are really good, but I feel like I should have gone for more mobile artillery, because on the offense, the mortars fire automatically rather than the heavy artillery, making them a ton more useful, because you can just put them somewhere and then concentrate on actually launching an actual offensive, knowing that the mortars will go, oh, enemy unit, instead of like, oh shit, okay, something over there, gotta select the artillery, get over there, manually tell them to fire, and since there's no way to tell them to fire again, a few seconds later, you're gonna like, oh, they stopped firing, okay, keep shooting, thank you very much. You've got the Hinds here. I really do like the way they're doing helicopters, honestly, because helicopters should be like this. Just really fast, annoying, nippy little bastards, but kind of tough, too, because unless you've got good AA, shooting down a Hind shouldn't be easy. It really actually should not be particularly easy. Now, I do think that their aircraft are way too vulnerable, by the way. I don't know if the aircrafts... I'm pretty sure they don't cost any points. You don't really need to bother too much about it. It just costs tactical support. But the Strela shoots down alpha jets like it's goddamn nothing. I think Strela wasn't an awful IR system, but again, it's an IR system with all of the obvious weaknesses that that's got. And then I've got a little East German one here with T-72s. I picked this one purely because of the Strela, because without that, I would have 1 Shilka. Like, okay, I guess I only have to push on 1 flank, because I don't have any more AA for anything else. I do like the fact that they kind of force you to make some pretty tough choices as to what you want. And I imagine with lots of different regiments and lots of different combat groups, you can have lots of different pretty cool and interesting scenarios. I really do think that this operation mode right here, it's a potential real winner. It is. They've got 4 up here to begin with. So Fractures is... I'd guess that one might be NATO, like maybe a tutorial. Shield Wall's definitely NATO, Firebird Sergeant, and then probably Black Horse Mad Dash there. Black Horse, that's probably NATO, isn't it? So that's probably Soviet. Yes, I'm pretty sure. You've got a little bit of storytelling, but it's just text, which is cool and all, but you need to tell this via a nice little cutscene, showing some moving arrows on the map, you know, the classical battle report style. Colonel, there's strong indication that NATO is preparing a general counter-defensive. Counter-defensive? Counter-offensive. So you've got to deal with them, somehow. Now, show the movements, show the combat, pull you in a little bit. Take definitely some cues from World in Conflict in this regard. The call-in stuff, too, is cool. I like the fact that I'm pretty sure there's no warning on your end, so you won't know when you're about to get hit by artillery, which is good, because normally artillery doesn't advertise their presence by dropping flares on top of your comp. Hey, you might want to move. No, that's lovely. I think microprose might be onto something here. The interesting thing is, if Regiments had come out in a vacuum, I think it would be really cool. I'd probably love it, because I love Wargame. But right now, it's coming up against Broken Arrow, which is Slytherin's Wargame offering, and the next spiritual successor to Wargame, Warno, made by the creators of Wargame. Yeah. In such an environment, is there space for a more, I would probably say, casual, single-player, focused kind of wargame? It'll be interesting to see. They do say that half of all RTS players never touch multiplayer, so maybe. Anywho, that has been Regiments. It is still in development, of course. This is one of the early playtests. I believe it will be open for a little while longer. I couldn't find a precise date on that, so if you want to go check it out for yourself, just pop onto Steam and search for Regiments, and then you can apply to join the playtest right there. And it is pretty good. It's got some issues, and I think I can recognize a fair few of them from Wargame. But I see some promise here. I really do. Till next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.